What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another review for Monday Night Raw. This one is from November 27th, 1995. So, this week we have Radford making his Raw one-on-one debut. We saw him back a couple of weeks ago in that Battle Royal, and he was also part of a Survivor Series team, but he ended up getting eliminated. I think it was by the GOAT himself, Barry Horowitz. He's taking on Ahmed Johnson, though, so Rad will be taking an L here tonight. Something I was waiting to mention when Ahmed would make his debut is something that bothered me for a long time. Anytime I would watch old clips, old matches, old shows with Ahmed Johnson in them, those red tights that he wears give him a wedgie, bro. Like, how does this man not think to get better tights? Like, was Vince McMahon the one telling him to keep those tights? Because Ahmed Johnson seems like the type of guy that would not want to have a wedgie because it looks sus, if you kind of get what I'm saying. Like he looks too much of a man to wear tights that give him a wedgie, that just right up his ass. Like, how did he not ever think to change those things? I'm sorry, man, that just looked terrible. But come on, and he wouldn't even try to fix him during the match either. Like did it not bother him that something was in his ass? I don't know, but anyways, you know what? I just want one person to agree with me there because I've never heard anybody ever say anything about it. Anyways, he picks up the win and he gets interviewed by Jerry Lawler after the match. He brings up his opponent for In Your House, Dean Douglas. So Douglas comes out to confront him. Ahmed tells him to ring the bell because class has started, and he gets in the ring, but Douglas gets held back by refs. Not that Douglas was gonna get in there against him, but at least he had an excuse and he wasn't seen as a complete coward shit. After that, they recap the situation with Shawn Michaels and the injuries that he sustained to his head, something that you would not see today, a head injury angle, but it's the 90s, so anything goes. Next up, please forgive me, but it's a tag match with Alundra Blaze and a couple of Japanese women who I am not going to try to pronounce their names. And speaking of names, I keep missing when they bring in the mayor of merchandise. I always try to pay attention to what this guy's name is, but it's Barry Solinsky. And hopefully he stays for a little bit longer because I learned that name. They better not just take him off TV, and I learned that name for nothing. But back to the match. But I do know Asha Kong on the opposite team to Alundra Blaze. She beat Blaze at Survivor Series in an elimination tag match. Something else to point out about these women's matches is that they rush through these matches to get their spots in because of how little time they have. And surprisingly, they barely end up botching. Funny though, I typed that out and one of the women botched a move on the top rope, missing their opponent completely. Asha Khan tags while being in the ring, ridiculous stuff that bothers me when I'm trying to take this stuff seriously. They play up that Asha Kong is big when one of them try to power drive Kong, but they can't, even though Asha Kong was about the same weight and height as the other two Japanese women. Kong gets the win with a backhand slap, so technically Asha Kong is 1-0 in her Raw debuts. Not sure how many more times she appears on Raw, but I guess she's now entered into the Dominance Award race as well, along with her partners. But in all reality, we have a month left, and Hunter Hearst Helmsley is like 7-0 already, so I don't think they're going to have 7 matches in the next 4 weeks. Next, they show another recap of Diesel and his attack on Bret and the refs at Survivor Series and his appearance on Raw last week, which you can go back and watch my review if you care to know what that was about, or go and watch the episode. Then we get a random appearance from Brother Love. I don't think he's ever shown up on Raw during the time that I've done these reviews, so for the first time, I'm getting to review a Brother Love segment on here. His guest is the WWF champion Bret Hart. Brother Love calls him a marked man now that he's WWF champion, and that everyone is coming for Bret's title. He asks Bret a question, and he does the thing where he doesn't even let him answer before pulling the mic away. Bret finally takes the mic from Brother Love and answers the questions that he was asking him, calls out Diesel for being cheap for what he did to him at Survivor Series. He brings up The Undertaker and says that he'll cross that bridge when he gets there. But first, he has to take care of the British Bulldog at In Your House. He brings up his loss to Davey Boy Smith at SummerSlam in 1992, and he will redeem himself at the pay per view and get his win back to retain the WWF title. Then, out of nowhere, Bob Backlund rushes in the ring and puts Bret in the crossface chicken wing. Bob was in the crowd as he has been for many shows, campaigning to maybe run for president. Bob Backlund finally releases the hold as refs come out to try to get him off. And this was actually a welcome surprise to me. If we can get another match between these two, a one-on-one regular match at least, I would be looking forward to see that. Bob Backlund, really, they cut him off when he was really getting to his heights in a resurgency for his career, I think, back in the late parts of 94, early 93. But like at the Royal Rumble, that's when they really cut it off. They were like, nope. I mean, he did have a match against Bret Hart at WrestleMania 11, but that match wasn't really anything to go back and watch. If they do something here with Bob Backlund and Bret, again, just a regular one-on-one match and an actual story that builds up to it, I'll look forward to it. But something else that I'm looking forward to is Hunter Hearst Helmsley keeping his undefeated streak going, sitting at 6-0 on Monday Night Raw. He will be taking on Henry Godwinn in a hog pen match at In Your House. Helmsley taking on a jobber here though, and he nails the pedigree for the 1-2-3. So he moves to 7-0, and he's 4 wins ahead of the next guy that's in contention for the Dominance Award. So hopefully he doesn't lose a match in the next 4 weeks. But we'll see if they keep this going and Helmsley wins the Dominance Award. So then next up, Owen Hart and Jim Cornette brag about what they did to Shawn Michaels, and they also bring up that at In Your House, they will have an open contract to whoever wants to face Owen Hart. So we'll see who that ends up being. Then Ted DiBiase comes out with Kama, who was supposed to face The Undertaker, but Kama comes out on crutches, a phony excuse to get out of his match with Taker. And DiBiase brings out a replacement that he paid to take Kama's spot, Sir Mo. And now Undertaker sporting his Phantom mask, one of his most famous looks, but I never really was a fan of this, but he does look pretty scary. The only thing that I don't like is the purple accent. Like, I don't know why I just can't get behind Undertaker wearing purple. It just seems too feminine for a character like him to be wearing. Obviously, 2023, or I guess 2024 by the time that this video actually comes out. Hopefully, I don't get canceled for saying that, but again, this is 1995. Let's just pretend it's 1995, right? But it is a cool look if you get past that aspect of it. During a spot where the referee is distracted, DiBiase and Kama beat up Taker on the outside, showing that Kama was never really injured. But it's still Sir Mo, so even after getting an upper hand, Undertaker still makes a comeback and takes him out. He goes to the outside and sends Kama into the ring steps. He goes back and hits a chokeslam to get the win. Kane Mabel comes out and tries to snatch the chain, but Undertaker able to get to it first. Again, this was the chain that Kama made from the Undertaker's urn, if you don't already know. Then Yokozuna comes out and confronts Undertaker. Undertaker gives the chain to Paul Bearer on the outside while he turns his attention to Yokozuna, and this allows Mabel to blindside Bearer and grab the chain back. He runs away as the Undertaker slowly stalks after him. I guess he doesn't really care about the urn/chain, otherwise he would chase after it, because anyone can catch up to Mabel. So the storyline of Taker getting the urn back continues, but that's how the show ends. Not a terrible show. It started off a little slow, but the last couple of segments and matches were okay. So I'll give this one a good grade. The good outweighed the bad on this episode. Now, you might say Taker versus Mo wasn't good, and I wouldn't disagree, but it was all to further his storyline with Kama and the chain. Bret Hart had a good enough promo looking forward to his next set of opponents, and Backlund came out to tease another match, which, again, I won't complain about. Then you had Ahmed and Helmsley getting some wins, continuing their momentum, and the women's tag match was fine for what it was. Aja Kong, the next contender for the women's title, getting a win. So even though the crowd doesn't really care about her, and I don't blame them, not only because she's not that good in the ring, from the little bit that I've seen her, and don't come after me, I know that she's been wrestling for 20 plus years, and is a legend or whatever, but I'm just basing my opinion on the two matches, which I haven't seen anything impressive from Aja Kong, so the crowd isn't really behind Kong versus Alundra Blaze. But even saying all that, this show was fine, so a good grade it gets. And until the next one, I am out.